Hello and welcome to another episode of Fulham Chronicles. Hello, Melinda.
Hi, Zara.
Oh my goodness me.
We've transported.
We
Wow.
have. Do you believe in magic? What a wonderful place. So where are we today?
We are in Blueprint Studios in Fulham. Yeah, new studio space for content, audio, all sorts. And last time we came to see it, it was sort of
The grand opening.
It was the grand opening, and now we see it in all its Fulham Social Hub glory.
Yeah, and it feels so good to start, again, the recording, again, giving Fulham the opportunity to have a voice and to meet some amazing people. And talking about great people, who do we have today in the studio?
So here we have our first guest in our new space. It's
Dr.
Simi Wang.
Yay.
From, First Class Learning Fulham.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me in your first time in your studio as well.
Yes.
I'm honoured to be the first guest.
Well, you didn't even know, and what a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, well, there you go. I just thought, wonderful space you have here.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It is. It's. I think it's beautiful, and the welcoming committee, as you want to, call it, it just gives you this professional space. But yeah, talking about professional, let's talk about yourself and doctor. So let's start from there.
Right. So I have a PhD. My wife keeps on saying I'm the doctor without a parking space. So every time I go to the hospital,
You should have said that before I had a sip of water.
So every time I go to the hospital, I just said, I can park here. But the doctor says, no, you can't. So I studied artificial intelligence about a long time ago. Let's not mention years. A long time ago. And everyone know about AI now. But I kind of run a technology consultancy, so we deal with AI and how to embed AI into large organizations. But one of the things that we discovered through that is that in the future, a lot of things will change, but fundamentally, the children or the next generation still need to have the core skills to be able to make these robotics, AI, kind of understand how they work, but fundamentally they work on mathematics and English. Right, so you need to be able to build the foundations and giving the skill set required for these next generation of children to flourish in these environments.
If I understood correctly, AI works on communication, which 99.9% of this lovely world that we live in lacks of, and also, as you said, maths. Not everybody's good with numbers. So is this why first time learning, is that where you found fit to encounter them both?
So first class learning. So we've one of the key considerations when we were looking at starting our own education kind of business was I have a son who's 5, right? We knew he was going to require these key skills. One of the ideas was when I was a governor of the school, I can see the wonderful stuff the schools are doing. Right, but they have to cover a huge amount of curriculum aligned to the national curriculum in a very short time with children has mixed abilities, right? So you've got this magical bell curve that kind of we all know about, right? So a lot of resources are being put towards kind of on the left-hand side of the bell curve to move the kind of whole bell curve towards the right. Right, so a lot of attention is given to kind of those children who might have a different way of learning, and so there are a lot of resources are dedicated to that. Then what happens is that there are a lot of children that's already on the right-hand side with a lot of capabilities are not given the right information, are not given the right kind of to be challenged, right? They want to be challenged and move along. And also the children in the middle as well is kind of left to itself because they can just get along. They can just learn the material, then they can just move along with the pace of the school, which is great, right? But sometimes these children will either, like if you're on the right hand side, you'll probably get bored in class because you're not being challenged, right? Then kind of it's an evil circle. They can be disruptive in class and the teachers becomes kind of seeing that individual as someone who's a disturber. Actually, they're just not being challenged enough, right? So not even challenging enough in class.
And they're having to
Yeah.
spend the time to manage that rather than teaching and in
Yeah,
the class.
and then the teachers and the assistant teachers in the class do an amazing job. Like as a governor, we are really getting the deep of how a school operates. They are limited with resources, they are limited with everything, and they do a fantastic job, especially the schools around Fulham, right? There's a lot of excellent rated schools in Fulham.
Definitely.
There's also a lot of private school systems around Fulham, right? So there's a huge education need. But when we did it, we looked at everything that's available, kind of all the brands that's available within Fulham, as well as outside Fulham. And also, it was what for us is really looking at the material, right?
But that's really interesting because that was about to lead me on to a question that I sort of had on my list about there's a lot out there in terms of tuition and support for children. And so obviously you would have done your homework and research, which you've just touched on. But what does make first class learning different then? Because you are catering very much to an individual, or what are your USPs?
I've seen the word holistic there when I looked at what is first learning all about.
Yeah.
And I've got a 5-year-old, so everything you just said now is literally what Monday parents' evening was all about, because my son needs to be challenged. And I think if first learning would have, to answer to Melinda's question, would do something different for me as a parent to pay for, then I would.
Yeah. So one of the key things is that before, and I think this is the same for every brand that does the same, right? So we individualize, we understand what the strengths are and the weaknesses, not weaknesses when the wrong word is, like the areas that could help improve the foundations to a child's learning.
Can I ask something? Is it bespoke? So, for example, if we would, how many children do you see? Do you have, like each child is being seen by somebody else, or is like a class effort?
So let me go through the program so I can give you a better idea,
Yes.
right? So is it bespoke? Partially, right? So the material for the program is aligned to the national curriculum, right? But every children's different. Every objective for a family is different, right? So for yourself, it might be, I want to stay in the state school system throughout this learning, right? For other families, especially in the Fulham area and the Kensington and Chelsea areas, actually, there's a point, 11 plus, where you might be looking for grammar schools and or private education and also another route out for the children, right? Now, that is these two systems are completely different to the state school system, right? So we're there to assess what the children's strengths and areas of improvement align to the European curriculum right now, and then help you to look into the future, right? If you're saying, right now, what I want to, one objective is for your son's 5, you want to do 7+. Let's say your son wants to do 7+, right? Which we know is a very competitive environment in a 7+. Then we've got to prepare him like from reception. Because
Really?
yes, because
Really, Melinda? she's got all the children's.
This kind of gives me a bit stress.
yeah. There's no stress.
No. You know why it is? Because I actually did not like school at all.
Yeah.
I liked all the extracurricular stuff. That's the stuff I liked. And then I've had 2 daughters who are out of the education system now, so graduated from university. And I'm hugely relieved about that, that I will never have to go through any of that ever again.
Yeah.
It is very, very stressful, and I do think that they were lucky because they did go to a local school, and I feel that it was more about that they did support more about the individual girl. It's Lady Margaret School, so we're super happy with that. But yeah, it is. I think education for me, it's a difficult one. It's I find it hard to talk about. But going back to the USP, so looking at all of that, so you're starting very early, but not everyone's going to come to you, right, and say, well, I want 7+, 11+, or I'm looking to go to this secondary school.
Or are they?
Or they're coming to you for advice to say, what would you think? Because it's got to be the right school for the child, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's what a
This
parent's priority
scares
is.
me if the conversation comes from reception, because how does a parent know? You know your children, but you don't know your children when it comes to the school environment.
Yeah.
So how would a parent know from reception, what are my children's strengths? You know, I assume you need to wait until perhaps he's 7, 8, you know, to see like he's more into sports. You know, he likes more the extracurricular rather than the, you know, so yeah, guide us through because
So like extracurricular is great. We're not there to replace extracurricular activities, right?
Totally.
Right. One of the things about extracurricular is very kind of lenient to what we're discussing is if your son's good as, like, let's say your son does football.
Yeah.
Right. He plays football. He goes to practice. He goes coaching. He goes kick a ball outside with his parents, his friends, right? This is repetitive, right? He gets good by repetitively practicing information, right?
Consistency.
But how much homework do you get from school to practice the math they've learned in class, right? Look, so they are learning in school.
Are you pro homework or?
So the thing is that it requires practice, right? But we're not saying a reception kid goes home and does half an hour or an hour of homework, right? They're not. They're children. They want to go outside and run.
I love that you're saying that.
They should, Melinda.
Yeah,
you know,
girls and boys learn differently. We also know girls and boys learn differently.
Yeah, of course.
Girls at an early age are much mature. They can sit down. They can do the pretty handwritings. They can do the kind of the sitting down, doing the coloring. Boys is completely different, right? You need to go out, waste all of their energy, right? My son comes home and says, go and destroy the house, right? Go destroy the house. Because I know only
Run around the park.
Yeah, all around the park. Do something to get rid of the energy. When they're tired, right? But boys are very good at one thing. When they're tired, they can actually concentrate better and do the more academic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, so you'd be surprised how boys has got that energy. Wow. Every boy's different, right? So we're generalizing, right? So we're generalizing. So one of the key things for us is bite-sized learning where you have time to digest the information. Right, so you come to the center, we teach you one particular topic. You take that topic away, we make sure that you know the topic inside out and how to do it before you leave the center. And throughout that week, you practice on that one simple concept, right? The concept might be, I'm gonna teach you how to add 1, right? Just simple as that, adding 1. We can't judge as an adult saying, oh, that's easy, what are we gonna do? But for a child, that concept is difficult, and every children learns differently. I've got a year reception kid who can actually do 2-digit additions and subtractions, no problem. I also have children who struggles to do the simple math. But we're not one size fits all, right? So we make sure we provide our materials and our guidance towards how that child learns. If you learn better with number lines, we'll keep number lines. If you're better with blocks, you can visualize it better, we'll make sure you visualize it, you learn that way. So every child comes to us is not saying, here's your work, go and do it. Our tutors are there to kind of help them and assess them continuously. Let's say you work on a material for 10 weeks, right? Every week, you don't know this, but every week we've actually reteaching you or retesting you on the material you learned on the first week. So an iterative and repetitive process, you start understanding, and then 10 to 12 weeks along the line, we actually give you a test, but it just
you don't know it's a test.
Yeah, no, it's just like a normal working class. We then look at, all right, have they actually learned the materials, understood the materials before we move on, right? So it's a continuous reassessment of the child's learning progress. The reason why I say that is in schools, they will have a huge curriculum, like I said. Some children will understood it, adding 1, no problem, adding 2, no problem, they moved on. Now, some children have not laid our foundations, right? So they haven't got it and the school moved along.
So the foundation is all crumbly, and as they get more things added into the mix to learn, then they're really massively struggling then.
Yeah, they are massively struggling because they haven't learned the foundations. A lot of children come to me and when we do the assessment saying, you know what, the child can do these more complex, aligned to the curriculum. They've got 10 questions, they got half them wrong. Just means that they understand the concept, they can't do the foundations to be able to layer on top of the concept. So the more you layer on top, you're great at just like you build the foundations. If the foundation's crackly, you build a house on top, it is going to crumble. Yeah. Right. So for us, the program is more towards a long-term learning. And there's various options. Every family's options are different. You can look at personalized tutoring, right? You can look at other programs that's out there. That's no problem. But it's just all of these programs have one kind of simplified process, is repetitive learning, right? So is how you teach that repetitive learning that's key for that child or the child's progress going forward. And I go back to your question, is does parents come to us? Yes, parents does come to us, and we're kind of there to guide them, saying, look, we know the state school system, we know the private school system and the grammar system. The private system is way advanced than, not all private schools, majority of the private schools. If you look at the curriculum they cover in year one compared to...
I've always wondered why. You know why? Because like state school is free, right? It should be accessible to everyone.
Well, we are paying for it.
Of course we're paying for it. You know what I mean by free. Free, yes, with hidden costs.
It's not costing you extra.
Exactly, it's not costing us extra. Whereas, if you send your children into private education, it's been proven that it's more for the networking and who do they go and study with rather than what do they study. So this is new for me. I didn't know that private system is more advanced than standard system. Did you know?
But it is. They've got more. They've got
obviously more resources and more, because they don't have more time. It's not like year one is 2 years into one. So this is this is like news for me. So do you get to put the two together? Do you get more parents that would like to send their children into the private education system, or do you get both like levels?
We get half and half.
Okay.
Right. We've got parents who's already in this private school system.
Okay.
All right. I think one of the key things about private school system is that they have more resources. Right. Fundamentally, they have more resources.
Absolutely.
And then they can challenge the children a lot more. Right. And they've got smaller class sizes.
So
Smaller
that
classes,
is what it's all about.
Sorry.
So that is what it's all about. Once you have
if you've got more resources, you have more teachers, you have smaller classes, you have more attention on each individual. Whereas in state school, it's averaging 35 in a secondary school, 35.
Yeah,
30,
35.
But you've got the state school system. You've got don't forget the private school system is complete. Like if you're not in the private school system, like you start understanding it. You go, wow, right? It's just like. Right. They are, when I was doing the bell curve, they don't have that bell curve. They want all the children to sit on a bar chart just to say everyone here will need to achieve this, right? Because fundamentally, if you pay for a service, the parents expect that.
It's a business.
It's
a business.
Especially with the VAT hike, that everyone's now just saying, look, the competition becomes extensive for the 11 plus because parents
where's my return on my money?
Yeah, the return goes, you know what,
we're sacrificing.
I'm sacrificing an extra 20%, right? I'm sacrificing an extra 20% on an already quite expensive work.
Yeah.
I want my child to go to the best.
Don't you think that's a bit more of a pressure put on a child? And will that affect the way the child moves?
So if you're I'm going to take two views, right? So if you already in the private school system, they already know about competition, right? Every child we've seen from the private, they already have it in there. It's the way they teach it in the classroom. They know who's best. They know they all want to be that person. The competition is embedded into their DNA as in those schools, right? Now, if you're in a state school system, they're completely different. It's more relaxed, more about all-rounded child, which is there's nothing wrong with that, right?
And it's also about, that's one of the things I liked about Lady Margaret when my girls joined there, was one of the first things that was said is we are here to realise the potential of each child, like whether that means they leave at a certain point and go into more down a vocational path, or whether it's somebody from a different background who is doing something completely different to where their parents came from and is aiming high to go to medical school, for example. And that's what I really loved about that. So I do find that really interesting that you say at private school, it's here, it's results. Even state schools, of course, are driven by results because they're looked at, aren't they? And they're on charts as well. But so that's really interesting.
But all fundamentally comes down to the fact that we want to give the child the skill set to achieve what he needs to achieve.
Yeah.
That
Get
means
to where they want to be.
Build the foundation.
Right. So where can people find a centre?
So we're in Parsons Green, by the church.
So how many days are you there?
we only open one day a week in Fulham on a
okay.
Tuesday afternoon because we've got to give the child the ability to learn. Fundamentally, like they need to digest the information. Like we know school's busy, right? After school clubs and everything like that. So our program doesn't really run. It's like you need to come at certain times. I said, look, if you're studying a subject, you need 30 minutes per subject, right? We normally spend 30, 35 minutes per subject.
Okay.
But we're not there to reteach them like really long, difficult concepts. We need to come in and make sure that you understand that topic you're learning and then see progress. So it is a long-term program. Can we do crash courses? Yes, but like my idea of a crash course is that you go and focus on a particular area and then teach. But you don't have time to digest the information. We're just preparing you for your exams, right?
So I'm trying to envision how will it look like if I would pop in and try to, just go more fundamentally into my science class, right? And I come from private school, and will somebody that being sat next to me in the centre will not be interested in what I have to do? So I'm just trying to understand. Is it like a one-on-one?
No, it's a right. So you don't need to.
I'm trying to explain how.
Yeah, you don't need to imagine. You can just come down and see it.
Yeah. Actually, that's where I wanted to get to. I really want to get into my.
So you just come down and see it, right? So there's I'm not like you can come down. The assessment for the child is free. So like although I do have a limited amount of time to do these assessments, so we generally come down the centre. So how the children work? They come in the centre. They work with a tutor on a table. The table has a maximum of 3 children.
Oh, that's great.
But because it's staggered start time, you end up working with 1-to-1 with a tutor, or 1-to-2 with a tutor, because the children rotate. Like when you finish, you leave. The table becomes free.
Okay, so it's Tuesday between this.
Yeah, it's Tuesday
time.
between 4 and 6. So you can like finish your clubs, come on 5 o'clock for half an hour. We're teaching the material. The tutors
I'll try to envision how does it look like. Like you don't go in the middle of class and just say, oh, so what does the 20 of you want to study next?
No.
Okay, so I understand that.
Because your program is the child's program is the child's program. The child's progress is the child's progress. We're not gonna like 2-year AEL comes for me. They're not gonna study the same program, right? Also, fundamentally, they're not gonna study the same program because maybe some of them need to rebuild foundations. Maybe some of them are more advanced. They want to be challenged. We want to prepare them. There are students coming to us who want to do the Math Olympia. I was like, okay, but like maybe this is not the right program. I do turn parents away because the program needs to suit the family and the child.
Okay, that's great.
So I'm not gonna just force a square peg into a round circle, right? Because it's not beneficial to them. It's not beneficial to kind of the business and the brand we kind of trying to build. It's about having that
making sure it's a right fit for everybody.
Fit for everyone, right? So if you say a couple of months down the line saying this is not the right program, I'm also fine for helping you find
so it's not like a 6 months need to. It must be. It should be longer and should be a year long or whatever. But when people want to leave, you can just tell them. I feel like it.
Yeah,
we're good.
Oh, that's great.
So it's I would generally say like, give me 3 months to see progress. Right? You come to me after a month. I said I can't see an improvement. Yeah, because we've just slowly building the program, and they need to it's also on the child, right? The child needs to be able to do their homework independently. We teach them the concept of exam prep, like how do they check their homework to make sure the onus is on them to check their work, and then being responsible for that. So we're not just teaching them how to do math or English, we're teaching them the all-roundedness of this is your responsibility. It's not your parents' responsibility. Oh yes, of course, Charles will go back and say, I don't want to do my homework, blah, blah, blah. But they come in without their homework and now go, where's your homework?
No, but that's all good life skills, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, well, you haven't taken responsibility. Oh, well, there's various... My child don't say my homework is eaten by the dog, luckily, because it's blue sheets. And I said, dogs don't like blue sheets, right? So,
I'd like to know what the best excuses you've had, exactly.
The questions are going to come soon.
Generally, it's not an excuse, really. The child just said, if they be honest with us, we'll be honest with them, right? Say, you know what, I just don't want to do my homework. Fine. then we need to adjust the amount of homework aligned to your environment. So every child will get homework, but the volume of homework depending on your extracurricular activities, how you learn. If you're not digesting the materials, I'm just going to throw work at you.
No,
Yeah.
keep going,
overload you.
Yeah.
Like, especially when
It's overwhelming.
well, especially when the transition between primary schools to secondary school, where
It's a big
like
jump.
they are now getting homework from right, left, and center, and they're asked to finish that on top of that, on the top of their normal work. But it's a case of going, well, it's responsibility. You need to take that responsibility and kind of build on that, right? Because the schools don't teach you about exam prep. Like getting into exams and what you do in exams is very key. It's about, right, how do you check your work? Like kids, you ask your child to check their work, they go, yeah, everything's right. They just literally look down and say,
done it.
I've done it.
Yeah, I've done it.
I've done it. I want to go and do something else. I want to go play football.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done my homework. I've done my football. But over time, it's like when we're dealing with the marking, so they come back, we mark the work, right? Parents have outsourced the education bit to the schools and now to us. We don't expect our parents to go, right, you need to check their homework. You need to make sure we really want the children to be independent and be on the ownership on them to do the homework and then present it back to us.
Well, also thank goodness, because we were talking about this earlier before you came, that I always think like homework, secondary not probably, but before, I think almost homework should be banned, because when the onus is on the parents, because especially if you have a career, you're working full time, you're coming back, you've barely seen your child, you want to spend time with them. How was your day? Like decompress, have a laugh. Do you play a game? Whatever. Last thing you want to do is sit down and force your child to do maths. So I think exactly it's great if you're kind of there to support all of that. Definitely.
Yeah, we also support. And then one of the things we do home visits now and then, and that's one of the things is actually, homework is intense, but like it's also a bonding opportunity for the parents.
Oh gosh.
You'd be surprised.
I wish I could have looked at it like that.
You'd be surprised. Like, okay, from a mother's
I'm
perspective,
not there yet, so I can't.
From a mother's perspective and from a father's perspective, it's kind of different. So when we do one of the examples is like,
It becomes a competition between mums.
Yes.
Who did the best homework?
not quite. It's bonding opportunity for the child, right? So is the mums generally sit down with the child, and it sometimes could be an intense battle.
Yes.
Right, so
I'm not there yet.
Yes,
Oh,
so
gosh.
it's an intense battle of trying. I want you to do your homework. Blah blah blah. This is you need to do your homework, right?
I don't want to.
Yeah. So when I
And
say
dads
bond,
go.
and dad is more relaxed about. And then generally speaking, if you actually get the dad involved and build it, like go and do go and supervise. Dad's more relaxed. They're like on their phone, like sitting around, like, have you done your homework? Yeah. But like, but it's like that sometimes, like, but dads can get more involved. Like one example is one family in who lives around Fulham is that their mum's like, the mum just one day just like, I'll give up. I don't want this to have this argument every day.
It's pressure, it's horrible.
The dad comes back. The dad just said, okay, come on, let's do it together. And then the kids just did it with his dad, just finished everything within that time. And
The
then
yapping.
He's spending time with his dad.
He's
probably.
spending, he's looking forward to that. Actually, my dad can help me, and so look, I know different families different.
Of course.
Yeah.
But is that actually getting someone else involved just breaks that evil circle of the battle between a mum or dad, right? So whoever like looks on the homework.
We are thinking about the traditional families now,
Yeah.
but we are in 2025, so more than half don't have a dad
Yeah.
around. So it's that's where what we do with every guest, we've got this on the spot question,
Right.
So something that us really want to know, and we do it with everyone. So obviously in our new studio today for the first ever time, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think somebody told me, and I can't remember which child it was at the time or which school I was at, but but one of my daughters is a lot more English writing. That's her strength, and the weakness was always the maths. And somebody once said to me, but that's a good thing, because you can teach maths, but you can't teach English. So I'd like to know, seeing as your core subjects that you are involved as those key subjects, maths and English, what would you say to that?
You can teach both, right? There's just
obviously you could teach both, but if someone's really struggling I think that's what she was trying to say. Is like if someone's really struggling with things that's really hard with maths, it's actually a lot easier to then break down. And I don't know whether I necessarily agree with that, because like what you're saying, the foundation. Yeah. If you get to a certain age and you haven't had that foundation, then it's head above water. You are struggling. Yeah.
So when we find whether a child is, I say the parents come to me and say, my child's really good at English, or my child is really good at math. It comes down to one word: confidence. Right, the child has basically lost confidence in that subject, because what would happen is at one point they would have been good at both. One subject, one topic, they didn't understand it, the teachers didn't reward them or did something, then they just said, all right, I'm done. I am done on this subject because I can concentrate on this, because I keep on getting rewarded for being good at this particular thing.
And I feel like I'm good at that.
Yeah, because I'm getting positive feedback from the students, from everyone, because I'm really good at it. I'm not going to bother doing this. I'm just going to focus on that. But fundamentally, they've lost confidence in doing that subject.
And also become fearful, I think, sometimes. Yeah.
So it's like that.
Failure, I don't think so. It's confidence.
It's just a confidence issue, right? So parents come to me and said, yeah, he can't do it. All right, but like a period of time later, they go, yeah, they love it, because we've rebuilt. We don't care really about whether you can do it or not, because we're there to teach you to ensure you can do it, and then finding the best process for you to understand and build the confidence. The problem with concentrating on a particular subject is English and math go hand in hand, because math questions becomes English questions. Right, maths questions become English questions, because when you get like your 2 + 1, you can see it and you can work it out. Right, they create a sentence, right? It's saying Julie has 3 sweets. He gives 2 to Dave and gives 3 to someone else. How many is left? Fundamentally, you've got to understand the comprehension on English to be able to digest the maths question.
I never looked at it that way. That's very good.
Right, so vice versa, right? Vice versa, they are English. It's a system.
So that's really interesting, because I never thought of it as a system.
Me neither.
So, thank you.
Well,
Well,
you just made me change my question, because my question would have been, all my life I've been told that you can't be good at everything. All my life. So we would have in our class somebody. This was very. Is the only example I can give. But somebody who was good at everything, and then when it came to the exams, when in my instance was year 12, she didn't pass either of the subjects, because the panic, and it wasn't just that subject that you had to respond. It was, as you know, as the exams are before you go to university. So that kind of ticked that in my head, saying, yeah, you cannot be good at everything. But I never looked at it as a system, that one can't function without the other. So thank you for that. Now I need to change my question. So
what you think of your question, though, there's like a lot of children's psychology into this. It's like when you put on a pedestal, your fear of falling down from the pedestal adds external pressure to the children. So as parents, I think it's very fundamental that we
don't do that.
Yeah.
But the children can feel it. That one of the problems is that anxiety, children can feel our anxiety or our worries about them. They're very intuitive. They're more intuitive than we give them credit for.
When they're younger, definitely.
Yeah, they're like, if you, don't worry about the exams. The words you keep on mentioning exam, they think, well, why are they mentioning exams? Because like, there must be something I need to do about these exams, right? So that adds additional pressure. So it's, the problem is that some children thrive on that. They're saying, give me pressure. I like pressure. Some children don't, and especially one of your friends who didn't fail, the fear of failing has made it fail, right? It's the case, well, everyone think I'm good at this, so I better not let anybody down. And that creates negativity and could potentially have contributed to the results. But every child is different. Everything is different. So every child needs to be assessed differently. Anyway, hopefully you thought of the question out.
A lot to think about. So my question for you is, what do you think about the educational system nowadays? Because not everybody can afford taking their children into private schools, and even though private schools can have they have spaces for extraordinary children that they're allowed to go in on scholarship. That's the one. not everybody, wants to go down that route. So what do you think that needs to be changed in our system, beside of the politicians?
Big question.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to answer this question by avoiding answering the question.
It's you. It's your.
Yeah.
It's,
So
it's
fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with our education system. We've got one of the best free education systems, or otherwise we do actually all pay for it. In the world, everyone moves around the globe to come to the UK to get into these schools, especially London. Right, London's got a large amount of good schools, especially in the primary level. The fundamental thinking is that what is the world going to be like in 10, 20 years time when these guys grow up?
Oh, that's so scary.
So the education system is focused around that. One of the challenges is that the decision makers are not. We're moving to politics a little bit, but they change
all the time.
Yeah,
as well.
so their focus is not on they focus on the short term, the 5-year cycle to get the next vote and falls the second. So whatever makes the news. There's nothing wrong with the education system. I'll go back to the original comment I made. Schools are under exponentially pressure to deliver a large set of curriculums. They don't have the resources required for children to be able to identify like the particular path, a particular children in every class. If you think about a class of 25 or 30 children in a room, to be able to, the teachers know what the strength and weaknesses
Can parents help?
I'm going to get there.
So it is down to the parents.
So it's not only down to the parents, right? So the parents, because like you said, we all have full-time jobs. This is just another thing. The family life adds into the pressure. The schools has a finite amount of budget and money to do what they need to do. The teachers know the strengths and weaknesses of every child. The teachers want to do good for every child. Don't get me wrong. I have never met a teacher, either in private or state school, who just says, I'm just here on the way until the school ends, right? I've never met. They work tirelessly, like the amount of hours the teachers dedicate into term time. But I always joke with the teachers, like, you get a whole summer off, right? But they've got to do their due diligence and all of that. So parents are there to guide what the right path for that child is by giving them almost all the opportunities they can give at that point in time. We bring math to life. We don't really just, we do, all right, let me take it back. We do say, here's the sheets, go and do the sheets, here's the math equation. But it's like, how do you apply that in the real world, right? So we help them saying, look, you like football, right? There's a football, like angles. If you have 3 players in a triangle, that's a triangle. Why are they triangle? There's 3 corners, 3 persons. So the kids can relate to the learning rather than just, here's a triangle. Remember, his triangle, he's got 3 edges and 3 vertices. All right, okay, but they can't visualize. Like, why do I need this?
That's the thing that, like, for example, I close my eyes now and I can see verses from the Bible.
Yeah.
Right, for example.
Yeah.
Other children remember the page and, something, they put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but they don't actually visualize it.
Yeah, the problem is the teachers don't have that time to go into that amount of depth to be able to, you learn visually. I've got to sit down with you with all the visual blocks and teach you visually. He was standing in front saying, I want to teach you how to do 2-digit addition in the column style. Carry forward, borrowing, carrying forward. Does everyone in the class understand? They'll go, okay, right, move on.
Yes,
right.
Somebody
Practice.
won't want to put their hand
I
up.
think we're going to keep you here forever.
I
That's
know.
as exciting, I think. I think it's more exciting. The subject is more exciting than I think both me and Melinda have thought it will be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying education is boring, but it's such a subject where I think because we take our personal, as Melinda said, her personal experiences in, and you obviously are here to teach us new ways of looking at things, which I think we've learned both today.
That
they work.
I've learned a lot, so there you go. You always learn.
Yeah,
Well, you can be a grandparent sometime, right? So you can go through this again.
I'm going to be the best granny ever.
So one of the, just a takeaway, come down the centre, have a look. That's
what I wanted to ask.
Just come down the centre on a Tuesday, give me a call. We've got websites up. Just come down and have a look. One of the best things you can, as parents, we can do is actually read with our child. Why do I need to read? because you got a topic, you can speak about things, you can build
Share
bonds
it,
and
yeah.
share it.
Definitely.
Anyway, so it's just for the
that's
takeaway.
What I wanted to say, you know, before Melinda, thanks everyone that needs to be thanked for being here today. We are going to post this lovely episode, and then
we'll put links through.
Yeah, we'll put the links through, and we'll invite people, you know, to the centre. And also, you know, if you want to offer anything to, you know, to our WhatsApp community, or going down that route, and you want to get involved more with the community, we're more than happy, you know, to like put you on the directory. And yes, thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you so much for coming in and being our first guest and on your
space. How exciting!
Great to meet you.
Yeah, great honour. Thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure. And before we finish, we want to say a huge thank you to, our new hosts here, Blueprint Studios. It's a gorgeous space. It's been so exciting to be here today. And a massive thank you to Fulham FC Foundation. Without their support, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank